this may or may not be relevant for anybody, but part of my process was in facing the actual situation of the world was there were a few vows that I made when I was pretty young, actually, as a teenager. The first vow was that I would never turn away from the pain of the world. Like decide I'm not going to go to the factory farm when I have an opportunity, or avoid the poor area, or turn off the PETA video. That I wanted to actually see the world that I lived in and what was going on, because I didn't want to be able to live in a blind bubble, right? So that was the first vow. And then the second vow, of course, when you start to do that, it's fucking devastating. And so then the next vow was to feel all of it and not go numb. And then the next vow was to not, if not going numb, not getting stuck in anger and blame. And then the next vow was to also not get stuck in hopelessness or overwhelm. Those were all basically unacceptable choices. So the first one of I just won't look at the problems. I will live in a tiny bubble where I get to feel like I'm succeeding while there's massive suffering and torture happening, is a kind of dissociation that makes me as if a sociopath, right? I'm stoked. There's huge pain in the world, but I don't have to care about it. So I'm like, all right, that doesn't work. And going numb, getting stuck in blame, or getting overwhelmed doesn't work. So it's like the only fucking way through is to say, I'm going to feel it all. I'm going to recognize that the devastation, the anger, whatever, is a result of love, which is, if I didn't love the animals, if I didn't love the kids, if I didn't love the environment, if it wasn't beautiful to me, I wouldn't care that it was being harmed. But underneath underneath the fear, the anger, everything is a reality that is so beautiful that I love, which is why I care. So then I trace it back to the love, and I feel that. And I also tune in not just to the tragedies that are happening and could happen, but also to the intrinsic beauty and meaningfulness of life. And then I say, okay, I have some agency. I don't have God's, omnipotence, but I have some agency. So what do I do with that agency in service of what I care about? And, every time I meet a nurse who actually really cares about the people that she's nursing and makes the pain of what they're experiencing when they go to the hospital less painful, has them feel cared about. Like, I feel this kind of existential relief that she's doing that, or he's doing that. And every time I find someone who is tending to street dogs in Tijuana, or anything, even if it's not addressing the generator functions of X risk, like, all those things matter. And for a lot of people, they will understand the big picture, and they'll say, I'm glad some people are working on it. I care about all of it, but based on the sense making I currently have, and based on what I know how to do, this is where I can actually add value. And the last thing I would want to do is have the nature of my communication say, because those actions aren't totally sufficient for everything, that you would feel less motivated to take them. Fuck no. I want people to feel deeply motivated to do the things that they actually can do, that are expressions of their care. And some people will be oriented to the kind of abstractions to say, well, how would we build a new resource provisioning system, a new economics that removes perverse incentive, or a new collective intelligence system that doesn't have some of the failings of our existing governance systems. And so the people who are called to abstractions and to systems like that, awesome. I want you to work on those things. But whatever it is that you're called to, there's a lot of things that actually need to happen. And just because something doesn't meet the sufficiency doesn't mean it's not necessary, right? There's a lot that's necessary. And so, these vows for me, I'm sharing because they're ones that I hope other people take their own version of, which is, how do I stay connected to what I care about in the world? And how do I stay empowered in my relationship to what I care about?